And welcome to the AEW Revolution After Party here on Sunday night's main event. What a show it has been. We are here past midnight starting this after party, but we're going to be covering everything that you need to know about the show and then some. And then, as we always do, we turn things over to you, the listener, to get your feedback in. But considering it's Monday morning, we'll see how that goes. We're your hosts. I'm Boris, and I am joined by Dag Xavier, Josiah, Dax. Welcome to the show, and how's it going?
What's good, wrestling fans? Hell of a night. We got a lot to talk about. I'm looking forward to it.
We do have a lot to talk about. We have tons to talk about tonight. Let's just get right to things. What did you think of the show? Thumbs up, thumbs down, and we'll even add the thumbs in the middle.
Me, thumbs up. I felt like, thank goodness I paid for this amount of money and got, a good show out of it. Normally, I never had this issue with a AEW pay-per-view, but I haven't watched all their pay-per-views as of late, so I had good feelings about this one. This one lived up. Got my money out of it.
Yep. Yeah, it's I would agree overall, but I think that the last three matches overall at the end of the day made this a thumbs up show for me. It was touch and go there in the beginning and the middle, but overall, You know what? I live for moments. I love moments. I'm a moment type of guy. Like Mark Andrade, it's about the spectacle, and that spectacle overall of the main event, while not my cup of tea generally, it was a special occasion, a special match, something that we're all going to remember at the end of the day. And I agree with you. It was very annoying that they cut the feed, but that's what happens when you pay for pay-per-view. At least we got the main event in, unlike Halloween Havoc.
There you go. So, I mean, look, as far as the matches that I wanted, that I was looking forward to, I felt like they lived up. Everything else, it could have done it, and it could have not lived up, and I would have been okay with it because I wasn't really looking forward to it, but they were solid at best.
Yep. Overall, I would agree with you there. It's been a crazy few hours watching wrestling. You can join in on the fun, and as always, patrons have first crack. They already have the link in their mailbox. You can join the Patreon by going to patreon.com/SNME Radio.
I will say real quick to the person who said that they were annoyed. I agree, but I got a big feeling they're going to show it on social media.
Yep.
And pick up where they left
100%.
off. I don't think they're going to let fans down with that.
100%. Like you're totally right there. We do have merch, chopped-tees.com/SNME Radio. You can pick up your SNME Radio merch. Right now we only have the logo up there, but as things progress, we're going to be getting all the shows up there, and well, a few special surprises and whatnot there. Chopped Tees is also the home of Poison Rana and Post Wrestling. You can get all their merch there as well.
Hey, that's a pretty damn good logo, mind you.
Yeah, to say the least. All right, so let's just jump right into things. Like I said, you can join in the fun a little later. We have all of the chat open. I'll try to monitor the chat as best as possible. Huge thank you to everyone watching us live right now on Facebook, X, or YouTube. If you're listening to us in podcast form, which I suspect a lot of people might, considering it's Monday morning, if we try to always do these after parties. But let us get straight into things and chat about AEW Revolution, which started on March the 3rd, ended March the 4th. But
it is a 2-day event.
It really is. It really is. We'll start things off with the 0 hour couple matches there. The first match, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, Jay White, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, Max Caster, Anthony Bones, and Billy Gunn versus Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Willie Mack. 12-person match. Dax?
What have we said that we haven't already said about everything that's going on with this entire storyline? I just want it to end.
Same here.
End now.
What gets to me about the whole Bang Bang Scissor Gang is that the whole reason that they join and are aligned together is because they want to go up against and get some retribution against who? The Undisputed Kingdom, and they've had zero interaction with them since. So there you go.
Not one.
Again.
Or they haven't just like any normal faction would do, is just go after people and show that they are the top talent in the biz, and they've been in limbo this
Yeah,
entire
they're
time.
just trying to one up each other on the mic. That's this entire storyline. The person that I feel the most sorry for is Jay White.
Yeah,
You said it, I say it, we said it on chat together earlier tonight. And
he
that is
deserves better.
Jay White deserves more. Yeah,
We should start having signs and
exactly.
T-shirts now. At this point,
I know, right? So Singh tosses Austin Colton out of the ring. White trips Singh, and then Billy hit him with a famouser. We get the Blade Runner on Mac for the win, and that was that. Some Jay White goes on the mic, gets the crowd ramped up. I want to talk about the crowd real quick. The crowd was hot for the entire 5 hours.
and for good reason. It wasn't like a crowd that was just cheering just for the sake of cheering. They were entertained. They showed it. It felt genuine. It was, it was organic. It really helped the night, like it normally used to in AEW when they were in a packed house. So like this felt like the AEW of old, and I really enjoyed that aspect as much as everything else that was going on tonight.
Yep. So one of the things you and I, again, we were kind of chatting as the show was going, was the set. We do know that Dynamite has a new logo. Dynamite this week is going to debut a new set, and I suspect the set that they use tonight is going to be the new Dynamite set. Quickly, thoughts on that?
I love the set. I love the set. It was really, it was beautiful. I just, it's so funny. I'm going to relate the video game to this because every time,
Oh, of course.
every single time they change up on things, it just slows the process of that game, and people get more pissed because now they're going to be like, okay, now we want this in the game, and they're so not even at the level yet. So, but
I love
nonetheless,
the fact that now
yeah.
the game that I'm calling Fight Forever, is 2 sets behind.
It really is on talent and now in production.
Amazing. Very, but what's the next DLC? Who's coming soon? Daniel Garcia. Who is it?
yeah, Claudio actually, which is
Claudio
this
Casanelli.
Wednesday. Yeah,
There you go.
enjoy.
But by that point, we will be playing another game.
Yeah, we'll create all the people that are not there on there.
That's literally what I said. Was I made the joke to Dax as the show is going on. I said, you do realize that there will be create a wrestler intros and costumes for Julia Hart before Julia Hart is even in the Fight Forever game.
It really is. I will say this. I will look, and I was going to save this for the tag team match, for the FTR match, but the fact that I love the fact that Dax Harwood uses my name, it really freaks me out that I keep hearing people call wrestling fans, historians. When have you ever heard the name Dax ever in the history of wrestling? None until now. So if I see Dax on WWE 2K24, that's a wrap for me.
There you go. All right. Lexi Nair interviews Doc Samson, Orange Cassidy, Trent Barretta, Rocky Romero, and Chuck Taylor. Samson expressed concern about the wear and tear that Cassidy has gone through. He says he's medically cleared. So I love this. I'm very worried and concerned about you. You shouldn't do this. You might get hurt. But go out and wrestle, my friend.
That's what friends are for.
Like, again, I get it, and I know that this whole storyline since Cassidy won the belt, a year and a half ago, this is his second reign with it. It's always been he is going to be the fighting champ no matter what. But it's just funny that even the doctor's like, well, you're going to do whatever, so like you do you.
The doctor is the smartest person of all. Like, to me, I see, if that was us, like if that was you and you wanted to play this macho game, I'd be like, dude, you're a dumbass. Go ahead. You go right ahead and do it. And then
I'm pretty
once
sure
you lose,
you did say this to me back in December.
once you come back, it was like, I told you, dumbass, you should have done it. Like I'm roasting you at this point. It's like, go ahead. You put this on yourself.
Yep.
That's the kind of conversation I want to see in AEW. Like, okay.
Yep. Cassidy tells his boys that he wants to handle this match with Roderick Strong on his home and asks them to stay backstage during the AEW International Championship match. And then we get a vignette for a returning Pac.
I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully he will be all in place. He will be well. He's a move set I haven't seen in a while.
Yep. What happened in December? Well, I went through the ringer in December. Let's see. I
That's one
got
way of putting it.
another concussion, a broken rib, etc., and I was still just plowing through. And then by the end of the month, I was super sick. That's neither
He had a Darby match before Darby.
I know, right? Tony Schiavone interviews David Crockett at ringside. Crockett said special things happen in Greensboro. Crockett said a lot of random things, but he did say that Crockett spoke about Sting's final match, and he said, "You don't mess with family while talking about what Sting would do to the Young Bucks."
Now, see, I appreciate that they brought David Crockett out. David Crockett is one of my all-time favorite commentators. He is the king of cliffhangers. He is the one, like, if you watch Crockett back in the day and all the hell was breaking loose at the end, he was like, we gotta go. And the whole entire episode come on, and Kung Fu Theater comes on afterwards. And you're like, what the hell just happened? I want to see this next week. David Crockett is legend. I wanted him to be in commentary so bad. But it was still great seeing him there.
Yeah, it was good seeing him there. The one thing was, man, like he was just muttering on a little too much for everyone's liking.
Yeah, he was. But just hearing that voice, it just, the nostalgia brought it back. And that's the one thing, the one plus I will give tonight is they really hit the nostalgia hard for wrestling fans of old like me.
Yep. Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart and Sky Blue was the next match. Dax, Stokely Hathaway on commentary. He's just a gem.
Stokely, Stat, and Willow are wrestling's version of Three's Company. Like, when you really think about, like, Stokely is so like John Ritter, and Willow is like Chrissy, and they give me that vibe right now. With that said, I love these guys, and this match was pretty darn good. Things started to pick up on this. This was much better than that whatever the hell that Bang Bang Scissor Gang match was. They finally started getting better with the match quality, so I enjoyed it. It wasn't definitely not the match of the night, but it did its job.
Yeah, there were a few spots where Willow Nightingale, I think, was just getting a little too ahead of herself.
Yeah,
a few dangerous spots. She did at one point she did a double running senton, landed on both Hart and Blue, but she landed right on Julia Hart, like just flattened her. The other one that she did the cannonball in the corner. Yeah. Another very scary one.
Mm-hmm. And the Oklahoma Pete.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you to, we'll talk about that later, but thank you, Haas for showing her how it's done. Like, how do you mess up an Oklahoma Stampede? Seriously. And yes, right. So the person who asked, Tony is definitely Mr. Furley. Without question.
So I love the fact, let's ignore the wrestling, let's ignore everything, but we're going to talk about the random things that they say in the random 80s and 70s references that they have. Let's see. Blue gets in. Blue kicks Willow, hits her with a move from the apron. What's her name? Hart comes in, they're double teaming them, everyone's fighting. Willow hits Blue with the pounce. Statlander takes out Hart, and then Willow hit Blue with the Doctor Bomb and pinned her to win the match in about 13 minutes or so. So Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander win that one. Oh man, I struggled on that one.
So did they. Here's my question: where do you think they're going with this right now after this point? It seems like they're in the babyface side of things. Is Stokely going to eventually do whatever we think he's going to do, or they just decided to just let it go and let them gel?
I don't know. I feel like they're just going to become a team. And, this raises the bigger question. It's a question that a lot of people constantly ask me offline. And when will AEW introduce women's tag team championships?
Very true. I mean,
right?
Even though he got so many titles in there already. It's like that's the one title.
Right? That's the one thing. That's the one title that I think that we could really use at this point. There's enough teams. You mix in even the ROH teams, and we are good. So that was essentially it. We wrap up the 0 hour with a Sting promo, and then we get to the main show. First match of the main show For the TNT Championship, we have Christian Cage with Nick Wayne, Shayna Wayne, and Killswitch versus Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia is one of the first people that came with a Sting-themed outfit.
Yeah, that outfit was straight like for. I felt like that jacket he was wearing was like straight out of like Martin, the TV show from back in the day. It's like I was looking for the 8 ball portion of that jacket. It was dope though. It was dope. It was 90s dope.
Yep, it really was. So, Christian Cage, this match, what did you think of this match overall?
It was good. It wasn't the best opener I've seen ever in any pay-per-view, let alone Revolution. But again, it was solid. It did what it needed to do. Christian, came off as the Slimy Hill. His faction pretty much helped him win. It, wrench Ross repeat type of thing. I didn't think too much of it. It wasn't bad though.
Exactly, right? Like it's the same stuff over and over and over. I'm not saying this in a bad way. Tranquilo, everyone. Nick Wayne gets involved, Mama Wayne gets involved. Killswitch didn't really get involved, which was kind of interesting. But I kind of like the fact that so Menard comes down, and that's the way that they get Killswitch out of this match, essentially. But I like that, right? Like, I know some people might be saying, oh, that is overbooked. But at the end of the day, it's a good storyline reason to kind of even the odds, even the playing field.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I had no issue with it. It was what even though it was predictable and it was what it was still good. It was a good start off to the
Cage goes first. Exactly. Cage goes for a spear. He acts like his ankle and knee gives out because that's what Garcia was working throughout the match. Garcia and Cage did a phenomenal job of selling his ankle and his knee throughout the match. Like, I gotta point that out. It was so well done. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, agreed.
Garcia puts Cage down with a pile driver for such a close fall that they were chanting. They, being the crowd, was chanting, that was 3. Garcia goes for a jackknife pin, but Cage grabbed the bottom rope. Shayna then distracts the referee while Nick Wayne, that is, hit Garcia from the floor with a very odd-looking cutter over the ropes. That allows Cage to hit Garcia with the kill switch finisher to get the win and retain the TNT Championship.
Yeah, it did it. It did its job, and I had no issue with it. It was a good match.
Yeah, overall, pretty good match. Lexi Nair talks with Bryan Danielson as he was shown warming up behind her. Nair said Danielson told her that he would make Eddie Kingston tap out. Danielson made his entrance. Shivani said the match would be fought under Continental Crown rules, meaning no interference, and the match had a 60-minute time limit. Backstage, Renee Paquette is with Eddie Kingston, but Eddie Kingston is warming up in the background. Paquette said that Kingston dedicated the match to Jun Akiyama as Kingston makes his entrance. Okay,
first, I love what they did with this introduction thing. They had the ladies do this introduction. I've never seen anybody do this before. I got a feeling this will be repeated again and maybe elsewhere. But it was a great way to make them feel like that they were focused, they were serious, they were in their zone, and it was like their own representatives. And they just put them out in the ring, and I was like, "That's awesome!" I never even seen that in any combat sport before, so I really enjoyed that. And if they did get it from somewhere, kudos. But it was the start of the night, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would for sure say this match. Holy crap.
Yes.
I almost call him Bryanson. Danielson and Kingston just kicked the living shit out of each other. Like, this match was just tough. Exactly what you thought it would be. This just felt like a Triple Crown Championship match.
You say Triple Crown, I say Pancrase. Because they were palm shots in this thing. And Eddie, to his credit, like I've seen Eddie, throw some hits, but I feel like his energy was up a little bit more than normal. And the shots that he was hitting, especially during in the rib area, they were stiff. They were like Boss Rutan, almost like Boss Rutan style, like palm shots.
Yep, All right, work rate for every match was off the chart. 100%. That's exactly it, right? While this might not be my favorite pay-per-view per se, I will say that the in-ring was excellent. The work rate was just excellent throughout the entire
Yes.
night. We also see I am not at all an Eddie Kingston fan, but I would consider this, along with Sting's final match, as match of the night.
It'd
Very
be hard to
interesting, all
argue.
things considering who this is coming from. Very interesting, considering all the plunder that was involved in the main event. But we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, this match was just rock'em sock'em. Remember those? Remember that toy with the two robots where you just made them punch each other? That's what this match was.
Nobody's head, lifted up, but that was great. But
yeah, thank God.
it was competition. It was raw competition at best. It felt you almost just got lost in it and forgot that you were actually watching wrestling, actually watching something fictitious, and just watching two people get at it, and you just want to see this match, go, like, I hate to say fight forever because that's just such a branding thing now, but you just wanted to see it, and you wanted to see who's going to outdo each other. This, we talked about Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. This is a Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner match.
Yeah, they were just beating living shit out of each other, going back and forth.
Basically what this is. Yeah.
Was that Danielson almost did Bryanson again. Danielson was going after Kingston's hand, knowing that Kingston relies on his hand so much. So that's what he's targeting. He's got the target on the bad hand. Danielson hits him with a Busaiku knee and covered Kingston for such a close fall. Danielson showed frustration because he just wanted the win. He grabs Kingston's arms and stomps his head with a few kicks, and every kick just looked crazy. And even Kingston, he was just eating those, and you can tell he was in so much pain eating those.
I know. You can also see the battered and bruises around their bodies, man. It's just crazy.
There's something about watching this style of wrestling in HD.
Right? Dude, you're right. I remember watching this during the tape trading era.
That's the thing. Can you imagine watching some of those old FMW All Japan matches
4:3, 4:3 aspect ratio, and it's grainy, and
yep.
I still have those.
Danielson throws kicks. Same here. Danielson throws kicks at Kingston. He ducks the last one, does a suplex. Danielson shoots straight up and does one of his own. Kingston hits him with another suplex. Both men stay down. The crowd starts an Eddie chant. We get the "This is awesome" chant. Danielson went for another Busaiko knee, but Kingston clotheslined him, powerbombed him, and pinned him for the win at 19 minutes, 45 seconds to retain the Continental Crown Championship. I was surprised with that ending. There's something about an ending that kind of comes out of nowhere sometimes that I'm like, oh, that's the end. Very cool.
This match, it was, like I said, this was competition at its best. If you watch a boxing match, a kickboxing match, a MMA match, a fight or whatever like that, you're not expecting who's going to win. And that's the excitement, especially when you know that the two guys from bell to bell, pound for pound, are going to just bring it. And these guys brought it, and they suspended our disbelief in making us believe we were watching actual sport. And kudos to them for doing it. And let me say, Eddie Kingston's storied road is going to be something we look back at years from now. It's just an amazing, amazing road that this man is going through and went through, both in and out of the ring. Just I think people take his real life and his in-ring stuff for granted. Like, this dude really, 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 he puts his heart into it, man, and it shows.
There's just something about Eddie Kingston that he gets a really bad reputation sometimes, and I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know if it's like his promos. I don't know if it's just his appearance. I don't know if it's his wrestling style.
I think it's all of the above.
Who just appreciates the sport, right?
I think it's the fact that our wrestling fans have been conditioned to this ideology that the WWE has had for years, and making you think like the top brass is those who are in shape and all that stuff, because the self-fulfilling prophecy is that, you can't be a big star if you're not the, Marvel comic looking dude. Meanwhile, almost every other promotion outside of that tries to, put in a different ideology and say, like, that's just stereotype. These guys can put it in no matter what. And because WWE has the bigger production, the bigger pool, the bigger everything. That's what people see. The presentation of WWE kind of takes over people's mindset, and it has been like that for years. But those who are like core wrestling fans, no, I grew up with Dusty. I grew up. Dusty's the reason why I watch wrestling. It wasn't Hulk Hogan, and Dusty made me believe that he was ever the athlete as everybody else that was like Lex Luger or whatever like that. So I think it's the ideology of it all, in my opinion.
Right. Having said that, have you seen Dusty play basketball? That man's an athlete, in my opinion.
But if it was up to certain people in certain other companies, they wouldn't try to make you believe that. I'm sorry. That dude, he could do a great layup.
Yep. All right. Remember, there was the whole condition there that if Kingston won, Danielson would have to shake his hand. And after not wanting to do it, he eventually does it. Shakes hands
and raises his hand.
Arm. Danielson, raises his arm, bows to Kingston, and exits the ring, leaving the ring, and to Kingston alone. Very classy touch. Beautiful, beautiful ending to a pro wrestling match.
I will say, Nigel McGuinness had me because I'm waiting for them to just to announce that Nigel McGuinness is going to be facing Bryan Danielson, because week after week after week, this man constantly lays it on him on commentary. And I thought the storyline was going to be, because if he didn't shake his hand, and Nigel McGuinness was talking about like how the prestige of Ring of Honor and the Code of Honor and all this stuff. I'm like, he was really laying it in hard. I'm like, okay, if he doesn't shake his hand and leaves, that gives Nigel a way to get in, and that'll be a reason for them to face each other. And he shook his hand, and I was like, damn it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, they're going to tease this. They're going to tease this.
They're teasing the hell out of this, but it's inevitable. It has to happen.
It has to. It has to at this point. All right, the next match was the 8-man scramble for a shot at the AEW championship. We had Wardlow with Adam Cole, your boy Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Lance Archer with Jake Roberts versus Chris Jericho versus Hook versus Brian Cage with our boy Prince Nana versus Magnus versus Dante Martin.
Okay, shout out to Magnus for that mask in tribute to Sting. Took me like half the match to realize that he had his face paint, little icon on it. That was dope. I enjoyed this match. I thought this match was a lot of fun. I didn't take anything serious from it. My expectations was low. It ended up working out for me.
My expectations were low, and this match still did not meet that. I just did not really care for this match.
I didn't expect too much out of it. Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
I don't think I did.
I didn't expect this match, especially because of the turnaround of everything and how it went. I'm like, all right, at least they could finally what they could do is have a fun match, and they did. It wasn't too many. It wasn't really any flops or anything. It was what it was. It was kind of like almost like the first match. It was like it did what I expected it to do, and we're gonna move on from there.
Dante Martin, great performance.
Yeah, I felt like he was a little bit off in a sense of I think he's still nervous about him doing half the stuff that he does. And in fact, jokingly so, his frog splash, I feel like when he does his frog splash, he doesn't do it like fluently like normally people do. He wobbles a bit, he flakes a bit and wobbles. And I'm like, I feel like during the flight of him going down, it's like, please don't break my leg. Please don't break my leg. It's something. He looks like the dude from The Greatest American Hero. Trying to fly.
That is so freaking true. Martin comes back. He does a double jump moonsault onto Archer for a very close near fall. Martin then goes for a springboard move, but Wardlow swats him down mid-air, then cleared Cage from the ring. Hook climbed on the back of Wardlow. He kind of just shook him off like a nothing. Wardlow hits a last ride style powerbomb on Dante Martin for the win to become the number 1 contender.
Oh, can I also say shout out to I know Tom was saying like he doesn't want to see Jericho, but I gotta give Jericho props for one reason. I don't know if you saw in the media, in wrestling media recently, but he apparently
he donated.
He donated like
500 bucks.
$5,000.
5,000?
Yeah, 5,000 to Virgil's funeral costs. And that's the second time he's done something like that for a wrestler outside of the realm. In the community,
Almost
mind you.
anytime there is a GoFundMe for a wrestler that everyone knows, blah blah blah,
Yeah,
he will donate quite a bit. So
like, hey, I don't agree with everything he does and says or whatever like that, but like he's new. He's kind of a neutral dude, and I respect him on that note. Like, I don't know if he did that out of respect for the wrestling business or he did that as a rib to Ole Anderson. But the fact of the matter is, it was a great gesture for him to do, and I appreciate that. You know, more power to him on that one.
The next match was for the AEW International Championship. We had Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. My one complaint about this match is that Orange Cassidy and look, let's discuss this. Orange Cassidy beat up. He should be nothing. This match should have been done in 5 minutes. Like, Roderick Strong should have just decimated Orange Cassidy if he was as beat up. I know that Orange Cassidy's a fighter. I understand that that's the entire story. He's coming back from adversity. But at the end of the day, Roderick Strong still should have put him away a lot quicker than he did.
This is one of those situations that we talked about. Logically speaking, that's what should have happened. But when you're booking like you're creating an anime, that doesn't happen. When you play the character of Goku, you're not going to be going away anytime soon. You're gonna be crushed more than not, and that's what this match was. This was an anime themed match where pretty much, you got to get beat down heavily before you go down. But in real world logic, yes, you're right. It's like that UFC champion that lost to diverticulitis. You know what I'm saying? It pretty much is like you're not going to be able to survive that. Okay.
Took me a second. Yes. I keep you got me. That's twice in one show. So that's my one thing, right? Yes, I do agree. Orange Cassidy did have a lot of the K tape on. You know that K tape? I thought whatever. It was like there's no way that
better
this
be getting
work.
Stock in that company for K tape. Right?
When I separated broke my clavicle,
that
stuff legitimately did help. Like, it was crazy.
I had a groin tear that I used it for, and that's no joke. It is absolutely no joke. But they use it like it's fashion.
I was literally going to say the exact same thing.
Like
Cassidy put Strong down with a DDT. Cassidy went up top, then jumps off and hit a DDT on the way down. Cassidy threw 2 leg kicks at Strong, then a couple hard kicks stomped on him repeatedly. He does a Panama Sunrise for a near fall, like that little touch. Strong gets out of an orange punch and he does a backbreaker. He then hits Cassidy with a knee strike. He then runs the rope and eats the orange punch. Cassidy went for the beach break, but he struggled to get him up because of all. I wonder if it was all the injury or he just couldn't move because of all the K tape.
A little bit of A, a little bit of B, maybe.
He eventually does get the move for the pin, but Strong puts his foot over the bottom rope to break it. Cassidy gets to his feet and was drilled with a knee strike to the head, and Strong then does his finisher and gets the clean win to become the new AEW International Championship. At this point, Dax, you said we would get 2 new champions, and I believe this was the only one.
This was the only one. I am pegged wrong, and I have no problem with that either. This one needed to happen, though. This one absolutely needed to happen. This was, yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly about how he should have lost a lot sooner than he should have. But with that said, it was a great match. They worked hard, and he got his send off as he deserved. I was expecting or hoping for him to get a standing ovation after that because of how long he has worked with that title and what he's done. He's done a tremendous with that thing. And we fought Tony about his booking on a lot of things. This one he got right. And he had to, because a lot of people was, really throwing shade on him about it. And he, him and OC said like, nah, we going to do this. And they did.
Yep. A clock is right, at least. A broken clock is right at least twice a day too, right?
That it is.
After the match, I don't actually mean that. Matt Taven, Mike Bennett go in the ring. They celebrate with Strong. That's when we see a returning, and he looks like he hasn't slept in 18 months. Kyle O'Reilly. He squares off with Strong. O'Reilly smiles and he hugs him. Bennett literally takes the shirt off his back and gives it to O'Reilly, who puts it over the shoulder of Strong, and he talks into his ears, and he probably said, what do you think he probably said? Let's take guesses.
Should I get a haircut?
Hail Hydra.
I haven't heard that gag in ages, huh? That was a good one.
Thank you. Then he leaves the ring on his own, very emotional because the crowd was hot for him. And you can only imagine after having neck surgeries, not knowing whether you'll be able to come back, coming back to a sold-out crowd and getting the love that he did, which was great to see. Kyle O'Reilly leaves on his own, and the Undisputed Kingdom are left guessing why.
And I'm looking forward to Wednesday to finding out.
Yep. Oh, yeah, we have to cover that show too, huh? We get a brief video package to set up the next match. Justin Roberts takes over as the ring announcer. Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli come out through the crowd, and they wore Road Warrior style shoulder pads with spikes. Now, okay, here's the one thing that really bothered me about this entire thing. Tony Khan's dad owns a football team. You'd think he could have gotten real styled pads from the Jaguars locker room at some point. The pads they wore just looked so flimsy. They looked like the pads
they look
that
so
we would
cosplay
buy at Toys R Us.
No, they look straight cosplay, San Diego Comic-Con cosplay. And that's not a knock on San Diego cosplay, Comic-Con cosplay, because that's top of the line. But in the wrestling, of this caliber, they could have did more. But then again, also, like, you don't want to go through the crowd with real Road Warriors shoulder pads. Now, do you? Somebody's bound to get cut with the real deals.
Did you see the main event and the amount of glass going into the crowd?
I didn't see the crowd. I didn't see any of that.
Anyways, I digress. But again, nitpicking at this point. But if those are the most critical comments that we can find in certain points of the night, then you know that AEW is doing something right.
Very true.
FTR, Dax Harwood, well, except for the booking of this match and the ending of this match. FTR, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler versus Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. Very good match, right? This is like a clash of styles. We've seen this a lot in AEW, and you and I think we were talking how Jon Moxley, he's like that iguana that can just, he can adapt to anyone's style. And we were talking in this fact that he's going to be going to Mexico in a few weeks, CMLL, and, well, he's going to be facing people who do not brawl. So it's always refreshing to see when Moxley can, change up his style a little bit. But in this match, it was kind of like a brawling wrestler style. It was a very interesting style that he had.
I mean, people got to remember, he trained, with Randy Couture at some point. That's no small feat to be, that you're not just getting trained by a guy at a strip mall at this point. He knew his stuff and it showed. The man is no joke.
Yeah, Moxley was isolated, and FTR beat the living shit out of him, as they should. Castagnoli eventually comes in. He eats all of the chops from Wheeler, who then stands in the middle rope and threw punches at him until Moxley dumps him over the top rope. Wheeler was selling the ribs after. Castagnoli goes for a neutralizer on Harwood, but Wheeler reached in and stopped him. Wheeler tags in, and FTR set up for a spike pile driver, but Harwood avoided it and ran Harwood into the post. Moxley hit Wheeler with a shot in his corner, and then Castagnoli clotheslined Wheeler and covered him for a 2 count. A little bit after that, FTR's rallying, and they set up their corner for moves on Moxley, but Castagnoli breaks up. Moxley holds Harwood up in the electric chair position, and then Castagnoli jumped off the top rope and hit him with an uppercut, which looked nasty as hell.
Man, I love those guys.
Harwood takes a Doomsday Device style bump on his shoulder, and it was about to be pinned, but Wheeler jumps in from the top and hits Castagnoli. So something that's starting to bother me about tag team matches. I saw this in this match, and I guess I saw this. It wasn't even a tag team match. It was the triple threat for the title. Mm-hmm. You don't have to jump off the top rope and do this amazing move to stop the pin. You can just you know, kick the guys, move them
Again,
off them. Like
that logic thing we keep talking about.
Wheeler held Moxley up, and then Harwood jumped from the ropes and clotheslined him. Leads to a 2 count. FTR hits the Shatter Machine on Moxley and had him beat, but Castagnoli pulled Harwood off of Moxley, as he should. Wheeler went for a suicide dive on Castagnoli. He catches him with an uppercut. Castagnoli puts Wheeler down with a neutralizer on the floor. Harwood returned the favor with a pile driver on Castagnoli. Moxley hits Harwood with a Death Rider and then covers him, but Harwood countered it into a pin of his own for a close two. Moxley then gets and locks in a chokehold. Wheeler broke free, breaks free of Castagnoli, goes after Moxley. Castagnoli catches up to him, puts him in a chokehold. The referee checked Harwood's arm. It felt limp to him to end the match. Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli defeat FTR's Dax Harwood, sorry buddy, and Cash Wheeler. Okay, so let's talk about the rankings now.
Oh, we definitely need to talk about the rankings right now. What the hell is the rankings at this point?
So that's the thing, right? They reintroduced them, but it's like you have you as the fan. If you really want to know, you're gonna go check our website for the rankings.
Yeah, and then I checked for the rankings, and it gave me 2022's rankings. So I don't know what's going on here, but if I'm correct, wasn't FTR like number 5 at this point? And
I feel like they were higher, actually.
I thought they were 5th, which I thought was weird too. The fact that they were in there, period, I thought was weird because they didn't have any wins to be in there. So now that they lost, like, are they even in the rankings anymore at this point? And in the top 5 at best? Like, I don't know why is it so hard to put this ranking together? Like, we got Excel sheets, people. I'm sure we can figure it out. We can put together a formula in an Excel sheet and make the calculations work.
I just appreciate this one. There were people who used for decades. There was this married couple who created the MLB schedule by hand. If these people can get schedules for 32 teams on 162 games, by God, Tony Khan can get some rankings done properly.
I just can't. I don't get it, man.
Right? But the same could be said about the 8-man scramble, right?
And it's not like
all these random people getting a title shot, like a chance for a title shot.
That was my other issue with that. And that's when I started asking you about, I'm like, are any of these guys in the rankings? in this case, like, I don't get it. It's like you can't be this inconsistent. That's the part that bothers me.
They're consistent about being inconsistent.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's the irony of it is, like, when they did the Continental Classic, they were on point with that thing. We got to see
right?
them actually do it right. Like, if anything, won't we just put everybody in a round robin for the rest of the year? Why not?
That would be insane. That would be absolutely insane.
It will allow them to keep track of themselves.
Right? All right. Speaking of keeping track on yourselves and having producers and making sure that things are going smoothly, this next match, Toni Storm with Luther and Mariah May versus Deonna Purrazzo for the AEW Women's Championship. You and I were really looking forward to this match. Like, really looking forward to this match. I've seen these two have just absolute gems of matches.
Outside of this promotion.
Outside of this program, maybe you and I, we had our expectations a little too high.
This is the opposite of the other matches that we had.
I'm not saying that this match was bad, but it didn't live up to my expectations, and the ending really hurt it.
Yeah. Added to that, I just don't believe the crowd is just into Deonna Purrazzo for whatever reason. It's going to take her time. It's one of those situations where she still just got in. She's still not familiar with the AEW crowd, and they don't know too much about her because before this, a lot of them haven't been watching Ring of Honor or TNA and all that stuff. I think it's just going to take her time to build herself. I think she got in the title picture way too early, and they felt like they pushed her too soon to this measure, but I think this storyline, this rivalry down the line would have probably been much better than doing it now. Because I feel like they're just getting rid of it. And the crowd, like you heard the crowd. It was it's the most quiet that you ever heard. This loud, active crowd. Because once this match was over, they got back to being hype again.
Yep. Here's the issue that I had with this match. Like you said, it just didn't seem like they gelled. It just seemed off. It just seemed like, whatever. But the biggest issue I had is something that's not even to do with the match. It's what's going to happen after the match. And that's that. What is next for Deonna Purrazzo? We've seen this in the past. Lance Archer, we've seen this with other people. They come in, they get that title shot, they lose, then what?
Yeah.
Then what? Taya Valkyrie, same happened to her.
Yep. What about what is it? What is it? The Professor? Maybe they can have something, try to build each other up. I don't know. And like it, I don't know. His booking lately has just been less than, and that's the sad part. And people, I'm an AEW fan. Don't get it twisted. I'm a bigger AEW fan than I am WWE, but I always keep it real. And if you're trying to say I'm not a fan, I got an $800 belt that says I am. that's mounted on my wall.
And a $4 bottle of. Anyways, I'm not even gonna finish that sentence.
Don't you put me out there.
I know, no. Joking. I was hoping for more with the ladies match and agree with Dax. They may have pulled the trigger on this match too soon. This match, I feel the crowd would have loved this match so much more, if it had that build, that months build.
If they would have let breadcrumbs in this at the beginning, let them have a little bit of a stare down or whatever like that, but then let her move up to the rankings and they keep bringing it up, almost like the Nigel McGuinness and Bryan Danielson situation. Like they keep bringing it up, but it's like now you're starting to want to see something happen between those two. This is kind of the same thing. Like let her build up her popularity and then get to Toni Storm and then bring up this storyline. And then I think Tony may have, underestimated the possibility that people would be into Deonna Purrazzo at this early stage. This is the part of being a hardcore fan that, goes wrong with being a booker as well.
Not my issue. I don't have an issue with this. My concern, I should say, is this. I was just talking about what's next for Deonna Purrazzo. Is she going to get lost in the shuffle? We've seen this in the past with Tony Khan's booking. And on March 13th, big business. If Mercedes Moné shows up, you know that the entire women's division is going to be turned upside down. So as Tom just mentioned, Deonna's going to get lost behind Moné, most likely, unfortunately.
Oh, without question. Now that's going to be the question. It's like, I mean, and you know what's even worse? That's the person that you could easily put in that position because her status and Deonna Purrazzo's status is a huge contrast. You could do that with Moné because of where her buildup is. Deonna Purrazzo is still say what you will. She was a big fish in a small pond, and now it's like she's in a bigger environment. She needs to start over and build her way from there.
Yep. But we'll see what happens in 2 weeks. Again, this is my fear for Deonna Purrazzo. We've seen this in the past. We're going to talk more about this a little later on with someone that you and I are just so high on. Yeah. So Purrazzo gets Storm in the Fujiwara armbar. Storm rolls her into a pin for a 2 count, but Purrazzo maintains the hold. Purrazzo hooked the other arm and Storm tapped out, but Luther was on the apron distracting the referee. Purrazzo released the hold and booted May off the apron. Storm kicks Purrazzo, hits her with the Storm Zero before pinning her. If that ending sounded and looked familiar, it's because it was very close to the ending of the TNT Championship match.
It was what it was. It probably was the lowest match on the card, unfortunately, and probably the most disappointing of all of the matches tonight. And I don't know. We'll see what happens next. But I tell you this, it won't hurt. Toni Storm didn't get hurt at all by this. I believe that.
Not at all. Not at all. Look, if depending on the rebound match, depending on what Deonna Purrazzo does on Wednesday or Saturday, she should show up on Wednesday and get a huge win. Like that should be happening. But this won't hurt Deonna Purrazzo long term if she's booked properly.
And shout out to Tony Storm with that entrance that fooled everybody for a hot second.
Not me.
Yeah, you're perfect.
What?
We were looking at eyes, Boris. We were looking at eyes.
Will Ospreay AEW debut match as a AEW roster member versus Konosuke Takeshita. Dax,
Okay.
just take it away.
Thank you. Because this is the reason why I bought this pay-per-view. No disrespect. Like, Sting was definitely the obvious, but like, no, when this match was coming, I was like, no, this is a guarantee. I love Takeshita. I've had the pleasure of seeing him work live at at a AEW Dynamite, and I knew what he was going to bring to the table. And then you add Ospreay to it. This did not, in my opinion, for me, this was my match of the night, and it didn't disappoint.
Yeah,
gave me everything I wanted.
You wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I was just screwing with you when we were chatting. I'm pretty sure you were able to pick that up. I think after the match,
you hurt my feelings. No, not at all. I was offended. I'm telling Mom.
Well, Mom's been away for 2 years, so tough. What was I gonna say? This match was honestly one thing I do want to bring up about this match, right? Is like, this is a different style of wrestling. It might not be everyone's style of wrestling. This is what certain promotions do now. And like I say, AEW has a little something for everyone. You're not going to like every match. You're not going to like, so much, that AEW puts on. There are stuff that personally I don't like, right? When they start going into the more hardcore side of things. But this is a style that, I've learned to appreciate over time. That's exactly it.
This is you going into a Brazilian steakhouse and you getting an a la carte variety of things. You take what you want. You don't. You put away what you don't. You put the red card off when you don't want it.
Oh man, I'm just thinking of like some of those steakhouses when they walk out with like the skewers of meat and just Anyways, that's exactly what this match was, right? It was that skewer of meat that was all juicy on your plate. This match was excellent. Not much selling. Not much selling, not much slowing down, not much story. Just two guys going in there, kicking the shit out of each other with speed. There were a few spots like the German suplex that Takeshita did on Ospreay. Yeah. There was that brainbuster on the corner that looked really nasty. Any move where you just drop people and you don't know how they're falling, where they're falling, if they're gonna fall, those scare me.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the Tiger Driver 91. That
move.
Even when Misawa did that, it was still one of the nastiest moves ever. Because, my God, you could decapitate somebody, and no offense, but like he got, what happened to Misawa. When you do the Tiger Driver 91, it is a very dangerous move. I don't understand why people are still doing it. Like, Mitsuharu Misawa should have never, ever created that move.
And here's the thing about that move, right? I fully trust Will Ospreay to be able to do that move. It's the person taking it that you just never know.
It is insane. But with that said, I call this. This was a Fire Pro Wrestling match brought to life. This, plain and simple.
This was Fire Pro Wrestling. This was as close to Dragon Ball Z as you're going to be getting.
Right on the money. I was just about to say that too. Especially when Takeshita did that. Let me talk about that forearm. That thunderous forearm that broke the sound barrier. Takeshita did that when I went to the Philly show, and when they did that, and I was like, I literally when he did that exact same, forearm elbow, I grabbed the guy next to me. I didn't know who that guy was. I didn't know his name. We introduced each other for the first time just at that moment, because it was so earth-shattering. Everybody in the front row was like, damn. It was like that. And you finally got to see it. Why we didn't see it in Philly? Because they put picture on it at the time. So I am so glad that he was able to do that again. But at the same time, my God, that was insane. If he's not hurting people, that dude is a absolute artist at his craft.
Did you see Will Ospreay's? And I know they zoomed in on it, like his lower back and how bruised it was by the end of the match.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
Oh yeah, it was.
So Takeshita lowers his knee pad, goes for a knee strike. Ospreay stuffs it, and he has this sudden burst of offense. But Takeshita performs an inverted pile driver and then powered him up for a German suplex. Ospreay shoots up, hits Takeshita with an elbow strike. Ospreay then covers Takeshita. He kicks out at 1. The fans are going crazy. Everyone is going crazy. Takeshita turns Ospreay inside out with a clothesline. Takeshita then went for a jumping knee, but Ospreay catches him and hits him with a Styles Clash for a near fall. Ospreay hits a nasty looking Tiger Driver 91 and then finally gets the hidden blade to win the match in 22 minutes. And I think we were watching different feeds because this is what I saw. Don Callis enters the ring, checks in on both men. Both men. ROH TV champion Kyle Fletcher walks to the ring dressed in a suit with his title belt around his waist. Everyone is chanting Ospreay. The music is playing. Callis helps Takeshita to his feet, and then Takeshita fell to his knees in front of Ospreay, who dropped to his knees, and both men bowed. Fletcher then enters the ring while Callis and Takeshita left. Fletcher and Ospreay are giving each other the look. The broadcast team then announced that this Wednesday on Dynamite, Kyle Fletcher will be facing Will Ospreay one-on-one. Ospreay and Fletcher hug, and that was that.
I absolutely got to go back and watch that match, not only because of my enjoyment of it, but because, I might have just missed that part when they bowed to each other. I swear to good, like, how long did that take?
Were you having a smoke? Like,
I don't know what that. Maybe I was
smoke. Not that you don't. I know you don't smoke.
Right. Maybe I was in euphoria or something like that. I don't know what was going on, but I totally missed that part. I saw when Fleischer came in and challenged him or hugged him, whatever like that, and threw up the crown sign and all. I totally missed the bowing portion, so I don't know what the hell.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. I love that so much. Match of the year contender? Question mark.
Yeah, it's going to be in there. Like, good luck to whatever is going to try to compete with that match. I mean, say what you will about any other matches tonight. That one was the match for me to beat. Not only just in this promotion, but in all promotions.
100%. Whenever Will Ospreay and Okada go at it, that could be up there. But right now, this is 100% match of the year contender.
And considering Takeshita is almost the prototype of Kenny Omega in a lot of ways. He had a lot of Kenny Omega-esque type of things going on tonight. Man, this was definitely it. This was right up Ospreay's alley. They gelled really well. This was that type of match. And if this is what we're going to look forward to at AEW, let's go.
Right? 100%, man. That was so freaking good. And this leads us into the next match of the night, which was being billed as a main event, but I'm glad that this didn't go last, and that is for the AEW World Championship, a 3-way match. Samoa Joe, your champion, versus Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana versus Hangman Adam Page. Dax.
Overall, I enjoyed it, albeit I am still disappointed. I mean, it was a great triple threat, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I as a match, as a competitive match, I enjoyed it. Albeit I'm not a big fan of the result.
So this match was interesting. Lately we've been getting very good triple or multi-people matches, whether it be male or female, whether it be single or tag team or whatever, where they're able to keep everyone in the ring together, right? Yeah. There's been this trope, especially in WWE, in triple threats, where there's only 2 people in the ring. You get one person out of the ring, and they're taking a nap outside, waiting, doing whatever it is that they do, catching up on their novellas, whatever it is that they do, right? This match, however, had that trope, which is very weird, but it worked because 9 out of 10 times, it was Samoa Joe who they kind of got out of the picture.
Mm-hmm. Which from a story standpoint, it absolutely made sense. And it was even more that he was the one that was saving the pins every single time. I thought that was actually quite funny.
Yeah, yeah, it was very cool. And then we had, if you didn't think of this before, Adam Page is now a bona fide heel because he beats up not one, but two refs. And it's so funny because I had the exact same thought as you. When he beat up the second ref, I'm like, Aubrey Edwards has to come out now so that he doesn't do anything. And if he does, it's like ultimate heel, but they
Oh,
probably
that would have
wouldn't do
been
that.
awesome. But yeah, let's talk about the refs real quick. Did you notice that the refs are acting extra aggressive tonight?
Yeah, they were all extra.
Bryce Rimsberg more or less than any of them. Like he was
Yeah,
trying to put in authority. I'm like, damn, we actually hear Bryce trying to pull his weight around. Like all of a sudden, look what happened.
right? That's actually hilarious. Yeah, he gets his ass kicked for it. And here's the thing that I loved at the very end of the match. I was it JR or Excalibur that essentially planted the seed of, did Hangman Page actually submit to the Coquina Clutch, or did he submit just to not have Swerve Strickland win the
I
title?
think that was Excalibur once again interjecting his logic to it, which he does a lot, and I always appreciate it because he will make a follow-up situation better and make sense of it, or try to make sense of it. Yeah, I believe he was the one that created that narrative.
Yep. It was so well done. This
Yeah.
match was great, right? Hangman Adam Page, kind of just the odd man out, but he keeps stopping Swerve from winning the belt. And then we see Swerve do the ultimate face move when Prince Nana hands him the crown. And Swerve says, nah, he's not going to use it. You like how I did that? I've been waiting all night for that.
Gotta love it.
Yep. Yeah, he says no. That sets up the end. Swerve puts Page down with the JML driver. Joe suplex Swerve puts Page in a rear naked choke. Paul Turner is back. Page taps out. AEW champion Samoa Joe lives another day.
Again, I said, and we said this before when we predicted the show and all this stuff. I'm not mad Samoa Joe won because I remember I talked about like there was a point where I feel like he should have the title a little bit longer, but when is going to be the time for for Swerve to get it? My only pet peeve about the match though is that Swerve had this opportunity to get the pin when
Yes.
Joe did the muscle buster and he took them out with the with the stomp.
The house call.
Yeah, the house call. And he did the house like.
And he stares at Joe because he wants Page. It's like he wanted to be Page for the belt, not Joe. Right. Like, it's those small things. And right there, I'm like, okay, cool. But you just cost yourself the belt. And again, in this match, at one point, when Joe had a Coquina clutch on Page, and Swerve does like this weird jump from the top rope. It's like, guys, I understand it looks cool, but logically, all you needed to do was blow hot air on the guy and would have broken up the
pin. Agreed. I like it. Just some things that you need to think through a little bit better. Because I bet you they look back on it as like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done it. Probably could have went about it.
It looks cool. Look damn cool.
It did, but that made you look kind of stupid at the end.
Yeah, at the end of the day. At the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, now, something that I did want to bring up is this. Similar to Deonna Purrazzo, we've seen this in the past. Look at Jay White. He's in 12 people matches after having a shot against MJF. What is next for Swerve Strickland? Is he going to go back to another program with Adam Page? Or is he going to continue his program with Samoa Joe? We have Wardlow in the mix now because Wardlow is now technically the number one contender with a title shot.
I don't think the fans are going to let Swerve go into limbo with that. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. That's the difference between Jay White and Swerve, because Swerve is on a extreme hot streak right now, and it will be the Daniel Bryan effect if they even remotely try to put him back in that same spot. They got to keep him going. I don't think him and Hangman should be done. Whatever Hangman is going through or doing, let him handle it. Let him move on to something else. Let him get another title at this point. Swerve needs to go after Samoa Joe, especially because he didn't get pinned.
Exactly. He had nothing to do in the ending. So naturally, I feel like he should get another shot at some point. Will this other shot be at AEW Dynasty, which was announced after this match? AEW Dynasty pay-per-view Sunday, April 21st in St. Louis, Missouri. The tickets go on sale this Friday.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm not banking like that.
No.
This is the reason why I stopped watching UFC. It's like when they start getting too many pay-per-views, it's like I'm done. There's no I know how to I know how to do math.
Yeah, right. When it was every other month with UFC, cool, I could watch.
It was awesome.
Right? But then it became a pay-per-view and a fight night every month.
But that's the problem, and that's the thing. I think it's WWE has the same issue. When they started adding more, it dilutes the quality every single time. Like
Yeah,
when you had when you had
saves WWE is the fact now, not then. Now you got Peacock. You pay a couple dollars and you get everything.
That is true. That is absolutely true, and that is absolutely the saving grace of that. But when you're doing pay-per-view models, let's be real. Where are they getting this? Who is telling these companies that we can afford it? Like, especially there's so many other fandoms that we're all into. Like, come on, let's be realistic. Do 4, that's it, or at least one more, but not like
6,
one every month.
One every 2 months. I could live one every 2 months. But now we have March, April. We have Dynasty. I keep on calling it Destiny. I actually had to look at my notes. That's why I kind of stopped there. We have Dynasty in April. We have Double or Nothing in May. We have Forbidden Door in June. Then in August, we have All In. And then a couple days after that, we have All Out.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. No, I love, again, I'm an AEW fan. I can prove it. But I'm not that much of a fan when it comes to like them trying to, drain my wallet. It's just, no. I use logic. I'm a consumer before I'm a fan, folks. And
he really is.
Do the math from January to December and the price of these deals, plus whatever fees that they ask for, and every other thing that they want you to buy. You put that together. A lot of the stuff that they want you to spend, you really can't afford, depending on where you work at. Retail,
yeah.
Even corporate to some extent, it's a lot because you're spending on streaming apps, you're spending on games, you're spending on all type of entertainment. Unless you're solely a fan of wrestling and only wrestling, that's a whole nother thing. But the reality is most of the demographics are into more, into other things than just this.
Look, I'm gonna sum it up with one term. Jason Agnew coined this term years ago. More is more, and that's where we are with AEW right now, unfortunately.
Yeah. I was hoping that they never go to this model, but here we are.
Well, now I have a question. Earlier on the main show, I was talking about the possibility that they are very close to re-signing with WB Discovery, which would put a lot of their programming on Max, maybe even turning them into PLEs on Max. Would the model work then?
I'm hoping for it. I'm absolutely hoping that that's what happens because say what you will, like I know Peacock isn't making that much money off of that WWE product, but like it's still better for the fans. I'm hoping that they go that route.
Man, I'm still flabbergasted and intrigued by when here in Canada, starting in Royal Rumble next year, I'm going to be watching everything on Netflix.
I know. That is so crazy, man.
Again, they couldn't handle a live episode of Love is Blind. That's all I'm saying.
They did the that's interesting, but the Chris Rock special.
They did SAG
a couple
weeks ago.
And the Chris Rock special, which was the first one to go live, that went off without a hitch.
Yeah. I just like bringing, it's a joke because I watch Love is Blind. Oh, man, this new season is absolutely wild. There's a chick who described herself as Megan Fox.
Oh, no, I saw that. I saw that from TMZ.
Everyone has.
I did see that. That's, yeah. It's so bad. She's not really that bad. She's not bad looking at all.
No, that's the funniest part.
It's just when you put it on that pedestal. Check what you do. Brian Austin Green was right. He may not he may not agree with his ex-wife, but she is a one of a kind.
Brian
Bad
Austin
girl.
Green. Oh man, he's done well for himself.
Oh yeah, no
One of
complaints
the
there.
anyways, to the main event we go. It's it's 1:30 in the morning when Young Bucks they come. All right, so a video package airs to set up the main event. Justin Roberts handles the introduction, said the main event would be a tornado match. Let's remember that one. Ric Flair made his entrance, and then Ricky Steamboat was introduced as the guest timekeeper. Sure. Flair and Steamboat hugged on the ramp, and then they headed to ringside. Nikita Koloff and Magnum TA were shown in the crowd along with Scotty Riggs.
Loved it. I was all for this. I was like, okay, this is my fandom being catered to. So awesome to see those guys.
Oh, for sure. 100%. It was cool. It was cool. It was like one of those cool moments, but a very cool moment that happened as the Young Bucks, the EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas, were raised from underneath the stage, wearing long robes, having a new theme that sounded like the theme to Succession. Excellent stuff.
And I like the fact that they no longer shoot out the dollar bills. They shoot out their business cards now. They are fully in. I love that. The dedication is just awesome.
Yep. Some would say I'm even all in on this. Darby Allin makes his entrance, and then we get a video for Sting featuring a lot of classic photos while he was watching footage of his career inside a movie theater. Once the movie stopped playing, Sting sat alone in the theater and said it was showtime for the last time. He looks straight into the camera and says, "Let's do this."
Man, if Darby Allin was the one responsible for doing this this vignette, he is awesome.
I'm sure he was.
This man, thank you, Tony Khan and AEW, because they gave him a platform for a IMDb resume unlike anybody I've ever seen. If he wanted to go into filmmaking, he has a huge resume of list of great videos that he's done for this company.
Unfortunately, it's not like his wrestling career is going to be long, especially after this match.
Well, he got another career in filmmaking, so he could be the new Jeremy Borash at this point.
Right? All right. So Sting's AEW entrance music plays. One of Sting's sons comes out dressed as Surfer Sting. His other son comes out as NWO Wolfpack Sting. The music then changes to Metallica's Seek and Destroy, which was his final WCW theme. Sting makes his entrance and hugs Allin on the ramp before they head to the ring to set up the main event of the evening and Sting's retirement match, Sting and Darby Allin versus Matthew Jackson and Nicholas Jackson for the AEW championships.
Okay, here's my kick with this, because I'm agree with you on everything you're going to say about this, but I'm also going to say as well, I enjoyed this match overall. But I will also say that each person that wasn't Sting's sons had way better matches than this, with less smoke and mirrors, if you will. I kind of wanted them to just have a normal match, and I think they could have pulled it off with ease. But for some reason, they had to have this GCWS type of, hardcore match. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. But for what it's worth, the crowd was, bloodthirsty and hyped about it. They got the excitement. They did tell a story within it all. Overall, I did enjoy it. I did like it. And they let people go home happy. I just felt like I'm agree with you. Probably what you're going to say is we didn't need all this.
I'm going to agree with everything that you said, right? I am not so this is coming from the Facebook group right now, live, because we are live on X, Facebook, and YouTube. So remember, if you're listening on podcast after most pay-per-views, we are live on the YouTubes. I am not a gimmick match guy, but I've been a Sting fan since the 80s, back when he came in from Mid-South, so I loved this match. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, this is Sting's final match. This had that nostalgia. This had that, as the French say, I don't know what to it. This is not my style of match whatsoever, but I appreciated everything they did. and I'm pretty sure that Sting will never want to have a match like that again. It was crazy, but it's funny because as soon as this match started, yeah, and Sting's sons came into the ring and start doing stinger splashes. I think everyone was like, "Wait a minute, what's going on?"
Can we say Sting's clones? Okay, because
right.
I'm not believing they are his sons. I believe he cloned these kids.
That's some like some Captain America stuff going on in there.
We've seen a lot of wrestlers, kids looking just like them lately. They're the clones.
Like the former UFC fighter?
Yeah,
that had diverticulitis.
That's crazy. Like he took a rib and made that daughter of his. I mean, like it's just crazy.
Pretty much.
I don't know what's going on in the wrestling world.
The Suns get involved right away, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a tornado match.
People forgot that instantly, and I don't think did they even say that at did Justin Roberts even announce that in the beginning?
He did.
Okay,
he did.
I missed that. Like I missed the Ospreay bowing situation.
All right, so at one point in the match, Darby Allin climbs a very tall ladder, takes a jump, and goes through the glass that was set up, and he cut his back so badly.
Look, okay, folks, you guys see this right now? This is a 132 stitch scar that I did, and when I was 16, and I punched one of those windows with the barbed wire in there out of anger. When you're that angry and when you have that much adrenaline, you don't feel that pain. I can't even fathom. Yeah, and I'd end up, and blood. You think Darby's blood was pouring? This was blood pouring profusely from the 4th floor of my high school to the 3rd floor. It's a whole story with that, but I digress. You have to have some sort of adrenaline to be able to do something like that and not care about the pain that you're getting into. I can't fathom Darby. I did this once and I said I was never going to do this again because I was just, I need to regress my anger. Darby doing that, I can't fathom what's in his head and what encourages him to have that type of adrenaline to be able to pull that off in every single match like that. Cause it's crazy. And I'm saying that it's crazy. I need him and Sting not to ever do this stuff again. Like both of them.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. Who was it that went off the stage again? I forgot that. And I lost my place in my notes for a quick second. When they jumped off the stage and you said Seth Rollins needs to take an oath.
I think it was Nick Jackson.
The Falcon Arrow.
Yes, Falcon Arrow. I was like, Seth Rollins watching this. Honestly, I really am interested in wondering if he actually did what. I know he has a lot of respect for Sting. I know he grew up with Sting and he's an idol, but I also know that if he could turn back time again, he probably would wish that he didn't, did what he did. But I also probably know that he's glad that he's able to still do what he's doing right now. Yeah, because this run has been awesome.
It was Nicholas. He Falcon Arrow Darby off of the stage. That just looked absolutely nasty. So Darby's done basically at this point. For most of the rest of the match, Sting gets thrown into Matthew threw Sting onto another table on the other side of the ramp. That's exactly what happened. I missed that one actually because I was still like, what the hell is going on with half of this match? So Sting is then left in the ring, fending off for himself. The Bucks start beating up on Sting. We get a F the Young Bucks chant. Sting is showing signs of life, but the Bucks whip him into the corner. Matt howled in Sting style and went for a stinger splash, but Sting moved and Nicholas threw a simultaneous kick that caught his brother. Sting put Matt on a table that was set up next to a giant ladder in the ring. Sting climbed up the ladder, but Matt followed him up, cut him off. Nick sets up a pane of glass in the corner. Matt powerbombed, or kind of does a weird kind of hip toss type move through the table. Sting popped up while the Bucks were celebrating. Sting worked over the Bucks for a moment, but they kicked him and they tossed them through the sheet of glass in the corner.
Which again, I didn't think he was going to do it, but God. And how about what is he wearing under that shirt that protected him? Because he did not get affected at all. He was armored
Who
up.
knows what he was? He was armored up for sure. 100% he was.
I'm like, man, this dude going out with a bang.
Matt kicks Sting in the balls and hits him with a scorpion death drop. Covers him for a near fall. Nicholas tried to grab one of the tag team titles from Steamboat, who tried to hold on. Nicholas ends up with the belt, and Steamboat was kicked in the gut. Flair then enters the ring, covers Sting while Matt stood over both of them and told the Bucks, enough. Then he got up from his knees. The Bucks hit Flair with a double super kick. Steamboat climbs onto the apron and ate a double super kick. Matthew hits Sting with the belt, covers him for a near fall. So I was laughing at this point because this was literally Anakin Skywalker going into the Jedi Temple and beating up all the younglings, except this is the Young Bucks, the EVPs, going into a geriatric home and beating up all the old guys.
This was just beautiful. A senior citizen's assassin.
But here's the thing. It was to their characters at the same time. Remember, they want these old guys out of their company.
And it made a lot of sense, and the crowd ate it up. Oh. Again, remember, to some folks, the Bucks don't know how to tell stories. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, Sting gets to his knees. The Bucks, mocking, shook his hands, hits him with another EVP, with an EVP trigger. I love it because they're like, great work with you, great time, blah, 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 blah. Matt covers Sting, who immediately kicks out. Sting pounds on his chest, calls for more. The Bucks hit him with a double super kick. Matthew picks up Sting. Nicholas went up top for a move, but Darby returns, tosses Nicholas to the floor through a table. Sting hits a scorpion death drop on Matthew for a near fall. Allen then hits Matthew with a coffin drop. Sting plays to the crowd, applies a scorpion deathlock, and Matthew taps out. Sting and Darby Allin defeat the Young Bucks in 21 minutes to retain the AEW tag team titles. Then after the match, they get on the mics. They're kind of thanking, Darby Allin is thanking Sting, and the feed gets cut off. But I digress. That's, like you said, that'll probably end up on social media, which is
probably up there right now
nowadays. But that's that, man. That is the match. Are you shocked that Darby and Sting won?
Absolutely not, because we kind of saw that as a possibility. Again, and that's no slight on the new WWE right now, because we don't know how they're going to do things, and we're seeing a little bit of what they're doing right now, which I'm liking. But letting people go home happy is something that AEW has always tried to do. So they tried to go away from certain traditional ideologies, and this was one of them. And I'm glad that they did, because it made for a very memorable moment. This was the Trish Stratus moment, if you will, where they ended up getting, her the title and let her get her respects out of there before she initially left. And it felt good. It felt great. And you'll remember this for a long time, because not only just for the spectacle, but just for the moment and people can say, I was there.
Yeah, I think that was it. Everyone's going home happy, right? I think Sting is one of those people that you can break any rule for, because he's the Stinger. He's pissed off no one. He's had a storied career. He's done it all. He's seen it all. He's played good his entire career. This is the one time that I think he was forced to be selfish.
And added to that, 16-0. And he's leaving undefeated.
Yeah, 29-0.
Is it 29? Because they said 16-0 on the are they Goldberging?
I saw it on the Chiron when he was coming out with something. Right. Another detail you may have missed, Dax. Your feed was different.
Hey, U.S. and Canada do some different things, babe.
Well, yeah, we do, buddy.
Another thing too is Darby Allin's. Again, we talked about Darby Allin's filmography resume. His just career, man. Like, to be able to not only just come to this company and get this opportunity that he probably would not have gotten in WWE. Let's be real. At the time, I can't speak for now, because this is going to be a different road that they're doing. But we all know he would not have got this opportunity. And then on top of that, to be Nightwing to Sting's Batman, in this whole process. What an awesome career this guy has had, and he deserves it because he works his ass off doing it. Um, I really enjoyed his run with Sting, and I'm glad that he was able to have this moment with Sting as well. Like it's just freaking awesome. What a great story for both of them in there. In the end of the day,
Coming from the chat, so what does Darby do? Does he defend the belts on his own? MJF did it, so it's not unprecedented. Yeah, I think that they're gonna give him up in some shape or form.
I think in my mind, how I would want this is that he lets go of the belt because he doesn't want to team up with anybody other than Sting, and then he just go on his solo road and never go for the tag titles ever again.
Yeah. Not that he has a lot of time left, because
that too. You know, so I think that's a good way to end his tag team run, and he had a great tag team run.
Just like we're going to end the review of this show, overall, excellent show. We're going to turn things over to you. Just remember, if you're a patron, you already have the link. If you just want to join, well, just let me know on the chat, and I'll send you a link. Bob Kapoor sends this. He says, fun hardcore match to end the show. Might have been the first time I liked a Bucks match, despite them still having to get in all their nonsense. They really should have cut one or two matches to show the post-match speech by Sting and any post-match celebration. But that's the beauty of social media.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wonder what match would that have been? I mean, honestly, probably the 0 hour match, maybe. I don't know. But that I don't know what match, because all of them in hindsight, all of them were actually, I mean, maybe the 8-man scramble could have been cut down a little bit more to fit that in.
I love how you're having this conversation on your own, and like you've come to the same conclusion I was going to.
Okay, I'm just thinking the lineup and everything. I'm like, yeah, it probably had to been that one.
Yeah, that's the one I would have cut. Or Ospreay Takeshita. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
You're gonna be lucky.
All right. Tom, I hope you're ready. We're gonna put you on right now. Hey Tom, how's it going?
Hi guys.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Good. I don't know what's happened to the camera, but we'll do it this way.
I thought you were doing a gimmick.
I know, right? Are you gonna like turn the lights on and Darby Allin or some new wrestler gonna be behind you or something?
Yeah.
What's up, Tom? What'd you think of the show? What do you want to talk about?
I think that whole thing was like nonstop action, right? There were no breaks in between. Mm-hmm. It was just bang, 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 bang. Now, for some people that could be a good thing. Some people that could be a bad thing. Mm-hmm. But in the end, we got our money's worth, and I didn't get to fast forward through too much stuff. So next, I guess I thought Darby Allin would have ended up on his back, Sting on his back, but I guess they're going to do probably a tournament, and that's why they're going to try and make people pay $50 again in a couple weeks.
The question is, Tom, are you going to pay $50 for another?
Dax, think of this.
What's that?
Where is the Crockett Cup probably most famous?
In Greensboro.
Well, one of the cities that NWO was really big.
North Carolina.
St.
Louis. Okay. All right. That is what.
Where is Crockett Cup? I know that they've done a lot of shows in St. Louis.
Was Dynasty. Was 87 in St. Louis?
I think it was. AEW Dynasty is going to be in St. Louis. Why don't they do a WrestleMania 4, a tag team tournament for the titles?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind that. Honestly, because I'm such a big stickler of for tournaments. If it's an all tournament pay-per-view, that might make me jump on.
Right?
That's
the gimmick.
People don't understand.
Idea. There you go.
People don't understand. I love tournaments. I really do. I love, even when I play WWE 2K 20 whatever, I love playing the tournament mode because there's so much story you can tell with that situation.
Mortal Kombat.
There you go. Yeah, Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, Enter the Dragon. Exactly.
Street
Tom,
Fighter.
that's a
Hell,
great
yeah.
idea. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if they do that. It gives a lot of people a break, because having back-to-back pay-per-views, how do you book back-to-back pay-per-views? The turnaround sometimes is the biggest issue with AEW. So just set it up for the tournament.
I agree. Yeah, good idea.
Great idea, Tom.
Sounds
Anything
good.
else to add?
I guess Tony Khan really needs to trust somebody with a book, right?
Oh,
Maybe a Rampage to start.
Agreed.
If they do well, then Collision, and so on and so forth. Because he's not the Oink Oink, and nobody can be the Oink Oink. And the Oink Oink was the Oink Oink.
That's the thing, right? We've been saying it so long, whether it be on these after parties or whether it be on All Elite Geekly, which you can listen to every Thursday on the network. It's that Tony Khan does too much. He is overstretched. He's overworked. Not only does he have Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, he has ROH to still book, and he's heavily involved with his dad's main businesses of Fulham FC and the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is a busy person on top of everything else that he does. Like, at some point, the other shoe's gonna fall, and Tony Khan is going to need that help.
Agreed. Yeah. I the thing that boggles me is that he's not a stupid dude. Like, we've seen actually make smart decisions, do things strategically. How does he not see this? He's seen this happen from people prior to. How does he not see that he's being caught up in the same situation? I just don't get it.
Maybe he's just having too much fun, right? Like he might just be having too much fun thinking that he can do it, not realizing how burnt out he really is.
That's almost like an addict, almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I know there's the jokes and everything, but
like a workaholic.
There you go. Thank you for tagging in on it. I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't start those jokes up again.
You did inadvertently, but that's okay. No, but that's the thing, right? Like, at some point, the other shoe's gonna fall. It's all good.
Agreed.
And any final words, Tom?
I just hope Wardlow gets something, because before CM Punk politicked in the media and everything, it was MJF. And the guy that got screwed was Wardlow.
Yeah,
and he
big
got
time.
Screwed big time. He deserved something.
Yep.
So
you know what I would like for
and enjoy.
Thanks
so much, Tom. Thank you so much as always. Again, thank you for being a patron. Your support means the world to us and the entire team here at SNME Radio. So again, thanks so much.
Greatly appreciate it.
Yep. All right, so Dax, let's quickly, before we end things, because it is getting a little late, right before we end things, big business is happening, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday.
I'm looking forward to that.
Who do you foresee showing up? Do you foresee Just Monet? Do you foresee Okada? Do you foresee what are you thinking for the next few weeks in AEW?
I've been contemplating this. It's definitely Monet, but I think the bonus is going to be Okada. I think he's gonna especially because out of sight, out of mind too. The minute that coin drops, people are gonna go blitz, and it's a perfect time to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's gonna be crazy. Here's the thing, though, right? And this has been, again, Deonna Purrazzo, Wardlow, Swerve Strickland, Adam Page. Will these people get lost in the shuffle
every time somebody new comes in?
Available.
Yeah, he doesn't. His toy bin is really unorganized right now, and he definitely needs to restructure.
Yep, and that's my fear. Again, I'm not trying to shit talk Tony Khan. I'm not trying to shit talk AEW. These are just legit things, these legit questions that I'm wondering, because we've seen in the past that you're the flavor of the month and then you're not. So now, with probably some of their biggest signings in history outside of CM Punk, we'll see what happens.
No, here's the thing. it's what you're saying is warranted. I want in my heart of hearts to defend AEW like I did from 2019 to 2022 and really praise this company for what they were. But let's be real, it's not what it once was. It's ever changing, it's ever growing, and it's expanding rapidly in a way that we don't know if he can control it. And we're seeing signs in a lot of different aspects right now. That's one of the issues that people are having. Every time somebody new comes in, other people get turned away. And it's just there needs to be a restructure. He needs help. This is this Gabe Sapolsky effect all over again, which again, he's a Ring of Honor fan. How does he not see that he's becoming Gabe Sapolsky?
That's the crazy part.
It bothers me, man. But nonetheless,
all right, Dax.
Yeah.
Before we go, quickly, ACMG, talk about that real quick.
All right, folks. I also have a show called ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. It's a show that you see right here that caters to all things anime, comics, movies, and games with weekly news, reviews, and some interviews with some of the people you know in your favorite fandoms. So you could go to talktimelive.com, check all that out, as well as any place that you can listen to the podcast at Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google, Pandora, Audible, you name it. We're there. Just type in ACMG Presents Talk Time Live in your search engine, but go to talktimelive.com because you can find all that content and more.
Thank you so much for that. And you can listen to Dax and I each and every single Thursday as we review AEW Dynamite on All Elite Geekly. Yeah, that's the show. All Elite Geekly. It's almost 2 a.m. I'm like starting to lose it. And you can listen to each and every single one of our shows, like the Raw Dogs and the Draw Straws Raw review. I always get that messed up in my head, and then it just doesn't come out. You can listen to Randy and Eric B each and every single Tuesday as they review Raw. You got the Smack Daddies on Saturday mornings after SmackDown. You have the Grands who have your Collision catch-up as they touch on Rampage and Collision each and every single week. We've got shows for MLW with George Mackay and Uncle Bobby B. That'll be coming back very soon. We have shows for anything that you like, even your Puresu and Japanese scene as Melball and Andre C chat about that whenever there's something to chat about. And that's what I love about the chaotic Japanese schedule, that it's happens when it happens. So you can catch all of those shows by going to your favorite podcast catcher and searching for Sunday night's main event. We're on all the social medias at SNME Radio. You can get all of the SNME merch by going to choppedtees.com/SNME Radio. That's chopped-tees.com/SNME Radio. And you can be part of the family by going over and joining our Patreon by going to patreon.com/SNME Radio. Again, thank you so much for listening. It means so much. I love doing these things. Like I say, it's been long, but here we are. Dax, as always, thank you. And more importantly, thanks to AEW. And the most important, thank you, Sting, for everything. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And most importantly, stay tranquilo.